Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
You are listening. We welcome you to the Big Biz Show. We're in Southern California, inside the beautiful Loft 100 studios. Hope everybody's having a great day. We certainly are. And as we like to say around these here parts,
we don't.
A big old howdy to ya. Wow, look at there. On cue.
We start handing out fines pretty soon.
That, of course, that's the day trader trio. Best in the business, as we say, self-taught, no lessons. Costa, Mary, Godwin, and Sully. How you feeling? That's the biggest question.
Well, you know what they say, starve a cold, feed a failure.
Yeah.
I feel it's not a cold. I got a cootie.
Ooh.
So I went to the doctor and he gave me some
COVID
some goods. No. It's a you can't take erythromycin for COVID.
No.
So I feel, you know what's funny about those antibiotics? You feel 1,000 times better the next day.
Oh, absolutely.
But not all the way.
They're never not all the way.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to Howie Font, New York City. He's been hovering around the Wainwright Conference there. It's an investment conference, which is not really a big media thing, but it's a lot of meetings with a lot of our people that we have had on the air meeting with investors. What is it? Is this a big feed, Howie? Is it people in the lobby eating and drinking, eating coffee, eating donuts? Or actually work getting done there?
There is a lot of traffic, but it's basically a bunch of private meetings that are scheduled all at the same time, and that creates some cross-network effect, and it gives scale to people. So if you're an investor, you're a small hedge fund or even a large hedge fund, and then you also are a small company. Apple's not here or any big companies like that. But if you're a smaller company and you need to meet a lot of investors in a couple days or in a short amount of time, this is how you do it.
And when you say investors, you're not talking about retail investors. You're talking about institutional investors or investment banks, broker dealers. So in other words,
even funds. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a company that's looking to raise capital or looking for some support on Wall Street, and you've got let's say you're under $10 a share, it's probably, I'm assuming, for most of them.
Yeah.
They've got these conferences. They've got Wainwright. They got Roth Capital Conference, and it's really interesting because you can see kind of what's going on in the rank and file of publicly traded companies. Speaking of the markets. We had a lower inflation number came out, and now there's talk about interest rates dropping back into
here we go.
Digestible figures again. Talk about that.
Yeah. No, sorry, Mike.
No, I was just asking. So it's not transitory; it's actually just coming down, right?
It's very funny because now there's talk of the tariff inflation being transitory, whereas the inflation that comes from pumping 50% more dollars than ever existed into the market, that was transitory. Okay. But the one-time price increase that tariffs represent is not transitory. There was a very funny dynamic that the Fed has got it wrong both ways.
Well, the thing is, and you can go back in history and look at that chart. Every time there's money flow, there's inflation. I mean, it's by default.
Yeah.
You're taking the piece of the pie and giving more pieces of pie out. What's going to happen? There's going to be more pieces of pie at the end of the day that are worth less. Worthless is what I think the word is for. You're talking about a data-dependent market. There's always why we say buying the rumor, selling the news. Lots of data coming out of a lot of different companies, including our U.S. economy as a company, as it were. Talk about that.
Yeah. So I guess the argument is you've got a Fed that says we're data dependent. We're not listening to the market or anyone's opinions. Like, we don't want to cut. We're not cutting. We cut 50 basis points, a double cut right before the election last year, and we're not doing any more. And people have said, it's time. We don't need interest rates this high. We want the economy to move. We're seeing weakness in job numbers, so we should be cutting. And the Fed's no, we're data dependent. Well, if we have data coming out, shouldn't that push, if that's what the Fed says their metric is, and we've got it now, shouldn't the Fed even perhaps cut more?
Drop them down to 2%. Let's go.
So easy to do.
Stay right there, buddy.
Howie Font, he is our market analyst here on the Big Biz Show. He will be back right after this to talk more Big Biz with us. You keep it here as well.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show rolls on inside the Loft 100 Studios here in Southern California. Wherever you might be listening here in the States or internationally across the world, that is the Day Trader Trio. Back here at the bar, it is Costa. It is the beautiful Mary Bird Godwin. And of course, it is the more beautifuler Sully.
Boy,
that's a word.
There's some. Are you concerned about COVID going around again? Is that happening? I'm seeing more and more people in the malls wearing masks now.
No, I'm not concerned about it.
There's people wearing masks
I
now.
might get the vaccine again.
Are you?
The booster?
The flu and the booster.
Have we missed boosters from the first time through?
I don't even know if it's what the difference. I mean, I don't know where we're at with that, but I'm probably going to
I'm
go
all for
in and
technology. If there's something to shoot it up at me, shoot it up at me. I mean, keep it away from me.
Yeah. What? Did you just see the Swedish something whatever minister? They were having this joint press conference, and she just went boom,
really,
and passed out, smacked her head on some guy's knee, and they're saying it was like the 13th booster that made her do it. No. I don't know.
Boy, that's anecdotal, I believe.
Who's they?
Howie Font is with us, talking about the economy. Howie, is Oracle still a thing? Remember Larry Ellison?
Oh my God.
Oh yes, this is big news.
Alleged sailor and CEO, island owner, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in Hawaii.
Good plastic surgery.
So what I want to know is, Oracle's been in the cloud since the cloud was the cloud, okay? What would make today, or this last quarter, make their stock bounce if they're in the same dang business as they always been in? What do you attribute that to?
So it's the big companies, Meta, Facebook, Apple, Amazon less so, but all these AI companies, OpenAI, they need GPUs. They've realized that it's so hard to get these GPUs. We can't buy enough from NVIDIA. Well, it turns out Oracle has a ton of them. They've been accumulating them and they have them. So there's these hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars worth of deals to rent these GPUs. And so Oracle never went away. I
forgot about them literally until this morning. I'm not kidding. Until I saw what happened.
They posted a 350% increase in demand for these GPUs, and that backlog represents so much more revenue that the stock is up. It was already up 40% this year, and it's up 45% now.
What does it add? What does that to Larry Ellison's? If he takes the amount of shares he has?
Oh my God!
What are we in the billions?
This morning is $100 billion to Larry Ellison.
More?
Did he just surpass Elon as richest guy in the kingdom?
Yeah, I mean that richest man in the world is a fun conversation because I'd argue it's like Putin or someone in
somebody manipulating currency in a foreign country. Yes, I believe so.
But publicly, Forbes, based off everything we know publicly.
What is Elon? 385.
Larry Ellison looks like he's taken the title based on today's.
Elon's 385 billion, right?
Yep.
That means 386 just came in. However much more for Larry Ellison.
That is so much fun.
I want to talk
So
about
dumb.
these mortgage. Let's get back to the Fed we were talking about when you first came on the air. I'm hearing more and more people refinance their houses. I am also one of them who's refinancing. I have a pretty good rate, but I can
I was
actually
going
get
to
a
say
better
there are better rates right now?
It's been, well, yeah, because applications to refinance a home are up 10% or something, or better here in San Diego. I don't know where they're across the market, but I think it's pretty much uniform that interest rates are falling.
Yeah, so I mean, there were people. Again, it wasn't as large as it was during the ZIRP era, the zero interest rate era. But you did have people still doing mortgages at these 7.5%, 8% rates that we've been out on the long bond for the last year and a half, 2 years. And so if the rate is now at 6.5, 6.6, which it is now, it's finally starting to become reasonable to refinance those homes.
Yeah.
So you're seeing, compared to week on week, we're up 12% from last week nationally, but this week compared to this week last year is up 34%, which is a really good sign for, it's what we would expect. We'd expect the housing market to unfreeze as interest rates come down.
Is purchase money different than refinance money in terms of people wanting to purchase versus refinance?
Yeah, they represent different things, right? So if you're going to purchase a home, that's new spend to you outright. Maybe you're moving. Maybe that gives a different signal than if someone's just refinancing a home. It means they're staying put. That's just a function of interest rates. The actual buying a home might say something about the overall economy. Okay, if we see this number really jump, wow, people are able to buy more homes. Is the consumer really like that healthy? That's a good sign for the economy. Things like that. That's why it's an important distinction.
The lady whose house I live in is a real estate appraiser, and
is this your wife?
It's my wife. And her phone is ringing off the hook because with all these interest rates coming down and refinancing, you need appraisals. The bank, and the lending institutions want them, and it's going crazy.
Hey, Howie, I've got a Gen Z question for you. Is it important to you to buy a house someday, or are you so interested in investing in the markets that you're going to avoid property taxes, maintenance, and so because obviously if you look at how the real estate market, I mean the path to wealth in this country is real estate or owning a business. You own a stock, you own a business, and they're pretty similar in terms of over time in terms of gain. What are Gen Z's thinking about? Because we got out of college, we wanted $50,000 a year, and buy a lot of beer, as the lyrics say.
Drive a
Volvo.
Volvo.
Go buy a house.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Listen, I think if you're stable in your job and geographically, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a wealth multiplier long term, and it's really important. I know a lot about how that number works. I find different ways to put on leverage. That's not normal, I would say, and I have different mobility wants than probably is more traditional. So I'm happy to move around and get the deal, and like you said, avoid maintenance costs and avoid being tied up for 30 years.
Because you can put your money into something liquid and get a return on investment, correct?
Yeah, but your home is the only asset that most people have that they borrow money against. So I mean, if you buy $1 million home, you don't have $1 million, or most people don't. They put 20% down, right? Which is, usually a big, hard scrape together. Yeah. But then you have $1 million asset, and you watch that asset grow. So it's not your $200K down payment growing. But people borrow against it. $1 million asset that's going up.
Yeah, people borrow against it all the time. The way you borrow against stocks is called a margin, and you can only do so much because they won't let you get in trouble like they will with the mortgage crisis. So, Howie, thanks so much. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Howie Font, our Big Biz Show market analyst.
Were you guys? Have you ever thought about selling your homes and just investing instead? Avoiding property taxes, avoiding maintenance.
Yeah,
I have too.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because there's a couple financial planners out there that will tell you that their own homes are rented on long terms, and they move every 3-4 years because they don't want to spend the money on property taxes and maintenance.
Yeah.
Do you know how profitable squatting is? Yeah. That's what I'm doing. They can't kick you out. These rules are awesome.
Well, but the point is though, the common let's buy a house and keep it till we pay it off is not the case any longer.
No.
And you can refinance a house into your 80s in terms of age. at this point. So I think what that's telling all of us is that maybe it's time to take a look at the stock market versus in times like this. I mean, look, you want your family home, you always want a place to live, but there's always rentals. And we were in a really interesting point after COVID where the rentals went almost nowhere.
Yep.
Interest rates went higher, and everybody's kind of stuck. And I think you're going to see a housing boom come out of this.
Listen, my son, Meg and I, we were, getting together, getting married, and said, yes, we're going to get a house, we're going to start a family, that type of thing. But I tell my son, Topher now, who's 23, I go, dude, rent or...
But invest the difference.
Yeah, go show up at your grandmother's house and just say, I'm here. All right, lots more to come with the Big Biz Show. Please do not go anywhere. We'll see you right after this. Big Biz Show rolls on for the Loft 100 Studios. That is the day trader Quattro. Back here at the bar, it's Costa, it's Maribert Godwin, and of course, it is Sully.
Well, we are brought to you by Prudential. Let Prudential be your rock for retirement. Also brought to you by Bayer Advance, better science, better results. Starbucks Coffee, Bloomin' Brands, their fine family of restaurants. Hall's Mentholyptus. And Phlegm Right.
Yeah.
Get your Phlegm Right. Not to mention Taylor Guitars. Oh, I think we all know who the culprit is here.
Oh, yeah.
The nicest person in our whole organization.
Yes. Our den mother.
Is what? What am I?
It's not you. It's not you.
Oh, I thought it was
nicest
I thought
person.
it was me.
Oh.
The nicest person in this organization.
I'm blaming Chris in a very
Castillo?
public way,
He's way nicer than me.
for coming in sick last week.
She was breathing over everything.
The thing is, she comes in sick against, she probably shouldn't have because she's just trying to do the right thing.
But she's
But
a hard worker.
but now she's in trouble.
Ooh, Christy.
She is the hardest worker I know.
Yeah, she's
we love
fantastic.
her.
All right. What do you got?
Joining us right now, he is one of our favorites as well. He's the founding partner of Draper Goren Blockchain. His name is Alon Goren. He is back with us here on the Big Biz Show. Alon, my friend, how is life in the Bitcoin realm?
It is great. I'm stoked that you added an extra member to the band today just for me.
Yeah, of course, always.
Yeah, Alon's always saying he wants to hear the band more. So maybe talk less.
What does that say about us?
No, you call into shows and I'm stoked that on this one I get to see your guys' face.
Yeah, most of the time you're just
sometimes you're looking at a black box.
Yeah.
Right. But I hear the band count in every time. I hear the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then all I hear is you guys do the intro. I never get to hear the band. And I just want to hear that bass guitar.
That's a subscription that you have to pay when you come be a guest.
A little extra.
When you come for free on our show.
In person.
When you come to the show you appear without payment, you also have to pay for the extra music. Okay. So that's a good model.
This is one of those pay-to-play operations.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
Hey, so this is the year that AI meets blockchain. What does that mean for the rest of us who are still trying to figure the whole thing out? I'm starting to think that blockchain is going to be the bigger piece of this thing versus digital currency because that's going to be the infrastructure, right? And will there be a different blockchain? Will there be more than one infrastructure? I guess is the question.
For sure. It's going to be just like technology. People like to talk about the tech stack and they go, I'm building on this technology or that technology. It's, I think I've told you this before, but I have a slide that says nobody starts an internet company anymore. But the reason I say that, when I meet people in person, I say every company is an internet company now, right? This show is streamed digitally everywhere. The hot dog stand on the corner can be bought on 7 different apps, right? 10 years ago, our definition of an internet company would have included that hot dog stand because you could order on an app. So the way the blockchain works is that things are going to get digitized and they're going to get better. 10 years ago, that meant a document was DocuSigned. That's a digital document.
Yeah, right.
10 years from now, that will mean that when I distribute the money that I owe you through that document, it happens automatically, right? That's our definition of digital getting better and better and better. That's going to happen with stocks and real estate and every single asset that we have. And if you're a musician, getting your royalty checks, every single thing will end up being digitized in a better way because that's just where efficiency is going. And the blockchain will power a significant portion of that. It might not look like Bitcoin, but it's going to look like you receiving your mailbox money or your distribution faster and better, or paying your mortgage faster and better, whichever way it works for you.
Alon, I wanted to bring up something you guys talked about last week. You mentioned the term fraud proof when it comes to this kind of where we're moving. And somebody like me who doesn't understand it all, but I can't help but think, how can anything be fraud proof?
Because it's so transparent. It works like this. I hand you a potato, you hand me $1, and there's 5 million people that are witnessing it and taking a little tiny piece of the transaction in order to say that actually happened.
Yeah, but then with AI, I mean, it seems like everything, there's bad actors that are going to be corrupting all of it. There's got to be a way in, and there'll be a hard-pressed time for me to say, oh, it's fraud-proof.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go all in on fraud proof, but it's much more resistant than the existing legacy industries are, right? I've had enough conversations with every single one of you guys to where I could take those conversations, I could give them to a certain website, and I can call somebody with your voice. Right. I could call your sister, your brother, your kids, your mom, and say, oh my gosh, I'm having trouble. Could you wire me $1,000 so I could pay my rent?
People are doing
my
that
bank
right now,
account
right?
information, right? I can do that with your information, right? I did that not too long ago with a 1-minute video I posted on LinkedIn. I didn't train it on hours and hours of footage. I took one video of me walking on a hike talking, and I trained that website to say the same line in 5 different languages. And then I sent it to my mom. You know what she did? She called me immediately and said, how did you learn to speak Russian?
Oh my gosh.
She truly believed that I sent her a video speaking Russian, even though in English, right before I spoke Russian, I said, I'm saying the same thing over and over again using AI in 5 different languages, and I did it in
This
Russian.
is how wars start, Alon, to be honest with you. Alon Goren, founding partner of Draper Goren Blockchain, with us here on the Big Biz Show.
What other industries do you think are going to be transformed by AI? Because the first thing I think in terms of financial services and stock market is brokers. And that without the need for brokers, really solves a big problem with respect to abusive short selling and of course spoofing. That which is happening without the algorithmic trading that goes on with a lot of these stocks that are so, it's just nascent among stocks under $10 where they're getting, there's more shares shorted than they have actually in their outstanding shares because they're counterfeit shares. Blockchain would solve that, but also put a lot of people
are
out of jobs.
They're selling things that don't actually exist.
Right.
I think that the transparency fixes that. And then I think that with every industry, right, like real estate is something we look at all the time. A realtor, in a lot of people's eyes, especially younger people, aren't very necessary other than for the closing of the deal, right? Almost every time you go to look for a home, you find it first on Redfin, you find it first on Zillow, then you share it with your realtor and say, can you take me there? Or whatever, right? But the good realtors know the right mortgage person, know the right appraiser, know the right everything that you need for the job, know a good contractor to help you fix the house, and you appreciate them because they're great at their job, they have connections, and they know the other realtors, and they help you get things done. I feel like that's the same way with brokers, and I think that's how it's going to work moving forward with specialty industries. I think that the way the blockchain and AI really are going to help are in those service industries that are just completely inefficient and still archaic, right? So I mentioned real estate, right? We invested in a mortgage company called Lit Financial. One of the key pieces after you get the mortgage is the appraiser. So you have to pay $500 to $1,000 to a guy to come to your house, be there for an hour, and then 5 business days later, you get this appraisal report that's a PDF. And with that appraisal, because it's stamped by the government that it's official, you now can get insurance on your home, you could get a mortgage or refinance your home, and it's kind of part of the process. So we actually invested in a company called Ivory, which stands for AI Evaluation of Real Estate. They give you the licensed, legit appraisal.
Write that down.
The person comes into your house, they spend 15 minutes there, and instead of them spending a whole day filling out these forms and getting it to you, their job is done significantly easier because 10 minutes later, that form is filled automatically by AI with their assistance. As
Mike likes to say, the lady's house he lives in is an appraiser.
She
That's
is.
his wife.
Yeah.
So maybe you should write that part down. Alon, buddy, we're out of time this time. We got to get you back to San Diego. Thanks so much.
I'm coming soon.
Love it.
Yeah.
Alon Goren, founding partner of Draper Goren Blockchain. Their website, dgb.vc. What was it called? Ivory?
Ivory.
Ivory.
All right, keep it here. Speaking of Ivory, A lot more Ivory coming your way.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
Are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show, live from the Loft 100 Studios here in Southern California. We roll on. Always rolling on is the date, Trader Quattro. Back here at the bar, it's Costa. It is Marybird Godwin, and it is Sully.
There you go.
The voice is holding up, it sounds like.
All right, I took a cootie pill yesterday and one this morning.
Yeah.
And one more to go tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't take hardly any prescription medication.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I get an antibiotic, it freaking works.
Did you share lunch with a girl on the playground? Is that how you got the cooties? Because that's how you normally get them.
Yeah, normally, right. I don't know how.
Sharing lunch code for something?
No, do you know what it is?
No, literally sharing lunch.
But no, here's what it is. It's how often don't you do you wash your hands like we used to?
No.
I mean, I'm more cognizant than I was.
Yeah. Think about how many times you're in a department store and you lick the escalator handle.
Oh.
I do it all the time.
They're so disgusting.
Just yesterday. They're gross. We have Jennifer Ernst back. Jennifer was with us last week with Tivic Health, their ticker symbol TIVC. And she was so fantastic. I wanted her back, but also we have a great press release that came out today that I wanted to talk about. But there's a number of things going on in that world, and we welcome her back to the Big Biz Show. Her name is
Jennifer Ernst, CEO, co-founder, Tivic Health, TIVC. Jennifer, so great to have you back on the show so soon. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing really well. Very excited about the announcement this morning.
And look at this. Look at this green scarf.
Although I'm not too sure. I got to ask. I'm not too sure about licking the elevator handle.
It builds immunity.
But he does lick elevator buttons, but this was an escalator rail.
Escalator rail.
Totally different.
Exactly.
But equally as gross. Hey, talk about your press release real quick, and let's get into Tivic, which really is an undisclosed sort of opportunity. But I want to go into Entolimod. I believe I'm saying that correctly. But talk about the press release a little bit.
So when we talked last time, I shared a bit about a drug called Entolimod that we licensed earlier this year. It's a very late stage compound, late stage asset. In fact, it helps boost the immune system. So for any of you that are out there, if you're going to be out there licking escalators,
say it. You know it.
You probably want some of this in your pocket. Sorry, I couldn't let it go. So it's immunotherapeutic. It helps boost the immune system, and it's a huge amount of late stage data. It's actually a protein. So what it is a protein that selectively activates parts of the immune system. And it's been shown a huge amount of data, $190 million invested in it previously. And the asset we're looking at right now for radiation, preventing radiation damage, or actually treating damage after exposure to radiation, whether that is a cancer treatment or whether that is a nuclear disaster, for example. This was originally developed for treatment of acute radiation syndrome after large-scale radiation exposure. So as a military countermeasure for field use, we licensed it earlier this year, seeing the opportunity also, as you see in the graph here, in areas of cancer treatment like neutropenia and lymphocyte exhaustion. These are the side effects that come with radiation treatment.
Jennifer, sorry. Continue,
ahead.
please. No, my question is, how is it an ingestible pill? Is it an injection? How do you get it into your body?
Right now it's an injection. There is a pathway that we're looking to be working with BARD on for an oral formulation. Right now it is an injection.
Okay.
And the big thing that we announced today, this compound was originally developed. The company that developed it couldn't get it over the finish line in terms of getting it to manufacturing, getting it through the FDA. So when we talk about getting something through the FDA, they want safety data, which we have oodles of. They want efficacy data, which we have a substantive amount of, and they need to see manufacturing. So I thought it might be fun to just talk a little bit about manufacturing of protein.
Yeah, because you could get into the manufacturing business of protein, Mike, and be a micro protein manufacturer in your next life.
Yeah.
It's a skill. It really is interesting because this protein that you're talking about it activates the immune system, right? Is that, am I accurate in saying that? Am I reading that correctly?
You are, and it's a very selective activation. There's these parts of the immune system, they're called toll-like receptors. They're basically the sentries on the immune system, and there are different kinds of them. We have one that's a TLR5, it's a particular one. It's a very ancient activation system, so it has, it's responsive to, it looks a lot like you have a bacteria in your body, except we manufacture something that's not a bacteria, but gets your body to respond as if it's responding to one. So it's very selectively activating. Nice thing about the piece that we're using is a lot of immunotherapeutics. If you activate the immune system, you don't really have a way to quiet it down afterwards. This one does not have any of the safety issues that are associated with many of the things that will jack up the immune system. So kind of acts in a very primitive pathway in the body, and it's a very quiescent kind of experience.
So let's talk about that supply chain you talked about, because this is the interesting part of this thing. Because I don't think we ever think about this in terms of biopharma companies. They have this idea, they got the scientists, and they have the drug. We never think about how it's actually made. I mean, this is part of the process. Talk about that.
Right. So when you take something from basically making the molecule in the protein dish, you've got something that can express a protein or make it. We're talking about living cells making it. So let me use a kind of more common example. When we talk about moving something to manufacturing, let's use a cooking example. If we take a bunch of vegetables, put some broth in a pot, and throw them in, you could get a very light, summery soup out of it. Mm-hmm. Or if you keep it cooking for a while, stir it, maybe throw some beef in there and boil it too long, all of a sudden you've got a hearty winter stew. I mean, these are completely different outcomes, and the proteins themselves, depending on what you put into the batch. Now, why today's milestone was such a big deal for us is that we are trying to match a manufacturing process that, don't tell anyone, these cells have been frozen for 15 years. So we're trying to match.
Wow.
Holy moly.
Don't tell anyone. We're trying to match a manufacturing process that was last run 15 years ago. And we did it. We were able to get the cell line with our partner Scorpius Manufacturing, who's out in Texas. We were able to get the cell line not only as productive as what was produced back then, but actually producing better.
Wow.
So when you grow these, you need to grow the cells. You need them to express the right protein. The protein has to be in the right shape, size, everything else.
Yeah.
It has to be at the right consistency. If we go back to that soup analogy, and what we have completed is the first stage of validating that we can bring that manufacturing process back online, have the proteins grow, have them have the same kind of activation that we saw in all of our original data set.
Hey, Jennifer.
So this was an incredibly exciting moment for us.
Well, it is, and first of all, it's a windfall. Number two, now does that mean you harvest proteins now for the next 15 years, or for 15 years from now? Is that part of the equation?
Yep, you grow and harvest.
Yeah.
So different types of cell lines. There's different processes involved in all of that, of course, but. You grow, you replicate, you grow, and you harvest them. So yeah, this is a momentous piece for us because it's also the first step of the.
Well, it's proof of concept. I mean, it's something that you guys are counting on that actually you're bringing to fruition, and now there can't be any naysayers in terms of being able to bring it to market. And you guys are in the NDA phase anyway. Talk about tens of millions of dollars invested by the government into this thing, because this is really an interesting story.
Right. The original cell design, designing the protein itself, and then all of the animal testing and human testing that goes with showing the safety and efficacy, there was about $190 million invested in programs, much of that coming from BARDA, DoD, NASA, because of the radiation that the astronauts see out in space. From NASA and several other government agencies.
Sure.
So when we licensed it, we went straight to the White House, straight to the heads of the agencies and said, look, we've taken over this drug now. We've got manufacturing expertise that I brought in, and we're firing that up. So now we have active molecules. We have the active protein. And I can say Tivic has grown its first Entolimod cells.
That's amazing. We're making you come down. We're making you come down to San Diego studio next time.
Yeah.
So we can hang out. I mean, you need to come down and hang in the studio.
Jennifer, you had me at stew. Please come back in the studio. Jennifer Ernst, co-founder and CEO Tivic Health. TIVC is the ticker symbol. All right, keep it right here. There's much more to come your way. More cooking tidbits as well on the Big Biz Show. We continue on the Big Biz Show. In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea on the American Forces Radio Network. As always, we say thank you to the men and women of our United States Armed Forces. We also say thank you daily to the day trader Quattro. Best in the business, no less than self-taught. Back here at the bar, it's Costas, Merritt, Godwin, and it is Sully fighting the good fight against the Cootie.
Yeah, I'm feeling much better.
Cooties. Sorry.
Much better.
Sorry, much better.
I'm excited about our next guest because I've done a fair amount of due diligence on this company. I've seen this company, and this company was brought to us a while back by, I think it was a shareholder called the company, said, you got to interview these guys. Who do we have?
Amro Albanna is the co-founder and CEO of AditXT. God, Amro, I screwed it up again, and you've told me how to say it before, and my head is full of cement, not brains. Their ticker symbol is ADTX. Amro, please give us the name of the company again. My apologies, sir.
No worries. AditXT. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good to see you again. I'll tell you, this is really interesting because you guys have this long-term vision for immune health. And I don't care where you're watching us or listening to us, if you're across the world for American Forces Network, or if you're listening to us on a radio station, or you're watching us on television here in the U.S. or abroad, San Diego, where we broadcast from, is an immunology center in terms of biotech, biopharma. And every time I hear it's not just San Diego and there's other companies doing it, my ears always perk up about it. Talk about your long-term vision for immune health monitoring and modulation, because this is something that we don't talk about very often.
I tell you, so thanks for having us again. And sorry, guys, I'm on the road, just meetings, one meeting after another.
No worries.
Look, our immune system is at the center of our health. It is critical, and it's at the core of our health. So whether we're looking at therapeutics where we could potentially reprogram the immune system, so we're not using immunosuppressions to address autoimmunity, or whether we're looking at profiling the immune system so we can better understand our profile and status, it's an area that we can certainly get into as far as mRNA, vaccines, long-term effects of COVID. That's a whole separate discussion. But ultimately, what we're looking to do is to really tackle the immune system challenges through precision medicine, through programming the immune system and monitoring and profiling the immune system.
Amro, if there was a tiebreaker, make you bigger, better, faster, stronger, more effective, what is the tiebreaker between you and other companies doing this? Because obviously there's a number of folks in the space. However, nobody's talking about it like you are.
Yeah, immune modulation is key, Sully. I mean, look, when it comes to modulating the immune system, we know the market, we know the players. It's very few players, relatively speaking. And when you're talking about actually reprogramming the immune system through injecting synthetic DNA, we're not editing the DNA, just to be clear. We're actually just issuing instructions in the form of synthetic DNA. That is a very small field, but the opportunity is huge. Few companies out there are attempting to do what we're doing through nanoparticles. Obviously, we want the success of the field as a whole. But when it comes to immune modulation through apoptosis, we are, we obviously believe we are the leaders. We just shared with the public that we have about 120 pending and issued patents. So we're pretty uniquely positioned, and our goal to begin the first human trials early 2026. So we're pretty uniquely positioned, and our goal is to begin human trials, show safety, and obviously with the goal of showing efficacy ultimately. But biology will tell us that.
Amro Albanna, co-founder, CEO of AditXT Incorporated. Their ticker symbol, ADTX, back with us here on the Big Biz Show.
Amro, I want to respect your time. I know you're in a bunch of meetings today and such, but I want to have you come back even as early as next week to talk about the merger approval. But before we do that, just so people can put a nice bow around this, because people are going to start looking at you again after this broadcast, is where do you see your technology going in the next? I mean, what are you most excited about in the next 18 months versus 3 to 5 years?
I'll tell you, Sully. I mean, look, I'd love to spend some time talking about life science in general and what our model, what we're working on in terms of decentralizing life sci.
Yeah.
AdImmune and our immune therapeutics and immune modulation, immune monitoring. It is there's simply 2 projects out of the whole portfolio, but would love to talk about decentralizing life science and how we can begin to really advance innovations that matter to all of us collectively. And we're not counting on a centralized system. Look, the technology is here. When you're talking about blockchain technology, when you're talking about decentralization on the blockchain, when you're talking about partners coming in to advance immune type therapeutics or immune type monitoring or women's health, it really becomes very, very exciting. I'd love to spend some time to talk about that side of the business and how that will contribute to scaling our model.
Well, I'll tell you what. You had a promise to come back with us because I want to see if you can slice. I mean, you're the crazy with J.P. Morgan and with Wainwright and everything else going on in New York City right now. You guys are all back to back. Thanks for taking the time, and we can't wait to get you back on the air with us, Amro. Really good stuff. Amro Albanna's name, ADTX, is
co-founder and CEO, and their ticker symbol is ADTX. Yes,
that's exciting.
Absolutely, big time.
So remember how he was talking about the meetings that go in investors will or companies will rent out hotel rooms and suites, and investors walk by, the doors open, and they go in and have meetings with him. Wow. That's where he was right there. You could hear in the background. He was in a hotel room on.
That's
so in
awesome.
between meetings,
that's cool.
Right. Kind of talking to us. It's pretty exciting stuff.
You better have good stuff on your buffet table in your hotel room.
Well, I mean, the other thing too is keep in mind, as I've said before, it's been a rough road with capital formation for biotech companies the last couple of years, just because of the fact that there's so many regulations involved with FDA that the long-term investors that get in these things, you have to realize when you invest in a company like Singulet, for example, or like Vivos, for example, or even these folks, it's a long play. And what's interesting about Tivic and Singulet, they both have NDAs out, new drug applications. They are within a year of commercialization. Cool. That's why it's exciting to have those, because you've got long-term plays like ANVS, Maria Mattacchione.
Yes.
I think I got that name right.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
And she's probably 4 or 5 years down the road before commercialization, but this is what it takes. And the FDA causes that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because what did she say they're looking for? They're looking for safety, they're looking for efficacy. And you can't, and this is an interesting topic, because if you think in terms of what happened during the COVID crisis, we were seeing all these vaccines that seemed to be rushing to the market. Well, they really weren't rushing to the market. A vaccine is a recipe. You just got to plug in the antigen into it. So the vaccine's already there. You just got to plug in the cootie, right? I need whatever cootie goes in there.
Wow.
But these companies, and of course they all need to be tested. But I'll tell you, they got to skip the line during COVID. That's what made it fast. And I look at. There's nothing to be. Listen, I can't poo-poo the evidence that vaccines are good or bad. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm trying to clarify is it is a long road to hoe to get an FDA drug on the market, because the government's doing its best to make sure we're safe. But man, it takes a lot of dough. And can you imagine all the stuff that could be on the market if we didn't overdo the regulation, which I think is the big question.
Well, I don't know if we are or not. Think about the lean years of companies back there at that Wainwright get together with their doors open in the hotel and nobody coming in.
Yeah, right.
And we're just going, hello, is anybody out there?
Well, no, that's true. And that's what happens with many companies that, what I wonder is how many cures are out there we never see, because there's no dough.
Amazing.
That's what scares me. At the same time, I don't want it out to market too early, so I grow an extra ear, right? And Mike, I don't think anybody would believe that you ever would remember the lean years. Were there ever lean years, Mike?
Never in my life. All right, listen, for this edition of the Big Biz Show, Plug in the Cootie is the name of my new band. Look for our first song.